Okay, sorry about that. Apparently, when you start streaming for the first time, it's a little bit tricky. Once again, thank you for joining me. My name is Celtichorn. I am a huge fan of animations, and I've always wanted to react to my old stuff and kind of give you my thoughts on what the process was during that time since it was so long ago. For those of you that are interested, and I extremely I remember extremely well when I wanted to do this. It was back during the era of Halo 3 in 2008. And everybody wanted Recon Armor. They thought it was the greatest thing in the world, right? And I, like everybody else, wanted to have that stinking armor. So I looked it up all the possible ways that people could get that armor. There was Rooster Teeth who got it, and then they gave it away. And then there was John Graham who got it for Irving the Chief. And there are a bunch of other people. So I thought, okay, you know what? I can do the machinima route, which is basically making, animations inside of a video game. So I went with Halo 3, and I wanted to make the story funny and different. But, at the end of the day, I'm a Ghostbusters fan. I love just putting a bunch of idiots inside of a serious situation. So I made it based off of a little comic book skit that I used to do when I was younger. It was called Honor Guard versus the Drill Team. Later, I'd find out there was something called Red versus Blue. And I knew Red versus Blue existed, but I forgot the name was Red versus Blue. I'd seen clips of it, but I'd never seen the whole thing. So when I picked my name, I was like, oh, jeez. I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done before I even started. But I had already made a couple episodes with it, so I was like, you know what, whatever. And they want to think I copied them, whatever. They can think whatever they want. But this is my own brand of stupid humor. And I had a lot of fun making it. A little bit of background. When this happened, I got my first capture card. I was like 18, 19. And I went to CompUSA back in the era of George Washington. And recording little 480p videos off of my Xbox 360. And trying to, turn it into somewhat of a decent story. So, this is the promo for that. In high school, I was on a team in JROTC called the Honor Guard, or the Saber team. They're the ones that lift the sabers up and let the homecoming queen or king pass through, and then they do a little cool little spin of the saber, and then they're done. That's what basically I did, and it was fun. It was just cool to hang out and get into all these dances and stuff for free. And then you have the other teams, the unarmed drill team, the color guard, and all that stuff. But the one that was cool to me, or not cool, but they were the biggest at the school, was the armed drill team. And there's 40 plus of these guys. You had to try out to be on their team. We'd have to technically have tryouts for the honor guard, but pretty much if you showed up, you were in. And the first year that we were there was 7 of us versus the 40 of them. So they would always pick on us, be like, oh, well, I guess the honor guard's out there twirling their toothpicks again. And we're like, you clowns. Can't find your butts with 2 hands, and you know it. Anyway. So I made comic books about him. Everybody thought it was funny. It was all kind-hearted stuff, nothing mean or vulgar. It was just like, ha, ha, ha. And so when writing this, I wanted to make it as close to that as possible. But then as I'm writing it, I get that little creative spark to want to make it like anything. I wanted to make a dramatic show about it. I wanted to really, really, have a story behind it. So I did. The characters are all based off of my friends in real life. In retrospect, I probably shouldn't have used their real names, but I mean, no one knows who we are anyway. Doesn't matter. But we had a really good time. They helped me out with this first episode. You'll hear some of their voices in this one, especially Brandon and Chase. And after this one, I think I pretty much did all the voices just because I felt so geeky bothering them about stuff like this. I was like, oh man. But they've always been really super nice and supportive. And so just to give you an idea of what it's about, let's get this going. I hope you enjoy, have a drink, and join me. Of course, you have to have very dramatic establishing shots. Oh, before I continue, Reticent Soul. He's a friend of mine. Guy's a genius. In high school, he was a self-taught pianist. He would he understood chord structures. He understood, scales and minor and major scales, but he never had any formal training. He would just go in there and he would improv an entire set completely completely out of nothing, and he'd make these grandiose, beautiful, bold sounding pieces of music. And I went to him and I was like, hey, would you mind if I use some of your, music for this? And he's like, yeah, go ahead. So he gave me an entire CD worth of stuff. And oh man, this guy was amazing. He's still amazing. Great guy. Great guy. Very proud to know him. Went by Reticent Soul. Hopefully it doesn't get too loud. But this is John. He's wandering through the base, doing about his normal patrols. But what is he looking for? What is he patrolling against? All right, just to give you some context, because obviously it just looks like, to me being a dork inside of Halo 3, right? The thing that just got in the Warthog is referred to as a DTM in this story. And DTMs were essentially animals that inhabited a planet called Terra. They were the only living creatures on the planet. Well, back on Earth, because, everybody has to have a dystopian story, right? But instead of resources running out or something like that, there was giants that attacked. Yes, it's a true story. Giants. And the destruction that they left behind made the planet uninhabitable and pollution, so their job was to create people to go look for a new planet. When they got on that planet, they found these vicious monsters that would, fight for... It's their world, and who are we? The people showed up, and they're trying to do all that. And normally they'd be like wolves, you know what I mean? They're dangerous, whatever, and it's not that big a deal. But this is the equivalent of if a wolf got into like a car and started chasing after you and shooting at you. You'd be like, wait. Now, I don't think they're supposed to be able to do that. So, yeah, these are a little bit smarter than the average ones. It's explained more in the story, so I probably should just be quiet and let you watch it. This Green Spartan, his name is Lieutenant John Sky. He is the Honor Guard commander. Everything has to be dramatic, right? Well, the joke with John is that he's a really adaptive, well-skilled fighter, but they always tease him because every time he fights off one of these things, a drill team member, he makes a big mess. Like, everything explodes. You can't ever just kill him and then they plop, go down, and that's it. No, something always has to explode. And no better way to demonstrate that than at the very beginning, where instead of, turning around, shooting him, he just essentially blows up the car. I thought it was funny. And John's going to go check on this wolf that magically learned how to drive a car. And make very clearly that logo that's on the back of it. That will become important later. And just to make sure he's definitely down, John has to finish him off. That's very cheesy, I know. I'm so sorry. But the music's amazing, right? And then, of course, there's the message that we all had to use whenever we made any type of Halo machinima. And we all used it, and that way we wouldn't get in trouble. It's their website where you go and they have a little disclaimer. We're going to use our content and your stuff. You have to put this on there. But really, they're super nice about it. I mean, what other company is going to have that much trust in their fans to not do stuff like that? It's pretty cool that they had that. Okay, so I'm going to set up the next video, which will be episode 1, and I will be right back. Okay, sorry for the wait. This is episode 1 of Honor Guard versus the Drill Team. Right off the bat, I can tell you that I'm going to have to mute the audio. Back then, in 2008, it wasn't as strict as it was now about copywritten music. Now, granted, yeah, they have a point. You don't want people going to another person's video because they used your stuff, right? So they essentially were a lot more lenient back then. Nobody really cared. But then once, definitely once Google acquired YouTube, it was this big old, oh my goodness, you can't use anything or they're going to find your house and burn it down. I mean, it's gotten crazy. You'll also notice down here that the entire length of the first video is 8 minutes 55 seconds. And the reason why isn't because I didn't want to make a longer one. It's because back then YouTube had this rule that no matter what, all of your videos were 10 minutes. I think nowadays you get the introductory thing where once you start a new channel, you have to put out so many 20-minute, 30-minute videos, and then eventually you get the ability to make it even longer than that. And that's kind of cool. I get it. But back then you had 10 minutes to make one video of anything. So I figured, okay, I have to establish my characters, the world, the situation, all within 10 minutes. That can't be hard. It was very hard. And, we had some fun. I had some fun doing it. Like I said, my friends helped out the first episode, and I'm going to have to mute the desk audio, but the opener was Green Day doing Warning. It was very night-ish. You see all those Windows Movie Maker filters. Green Day is my favorite band. I know, it means I'm old, right? All right, there we go. Sand Trap. We're finding Brandon and Pat out here training. Pat is applying to be in the Honor Guard, and Brandon, the Blue Spartan, is training him.
Hey, Pat. Not to be a dick, but what the hell happened?
How am I supposed to shoot all those barrels?
With your gun.
You hear that next
That's
level
impossible.
voice acting from me,
You never
the
said
Red
there was
Spartan?
going to be any jumps, man.
Oh, come on. That's the best part. Besides, you gotta pass this test to officially be in the Honor Guard.
I don't know, man.
You see, Brandon, by no means is a voice actor, but man, he has such a good, solid voice. I was like, can you just please voice your character? And he's like, yeah, I'll do it as a friend. So he did. It was cool. And then me, I was just like, oh, I gotta be like the other people on YouTube. Did we get all of them? And that's where I began learning that I have a lot of work to do when it comes to voice acting. But yeah, they're out here. They're training. Pat's trying to be in the Honor Guard, and Brandon's, running them through all the little obstacle courses and stuff. Like we said, we have to audition to be in the Honor Guard, right? Well, this is kind of a joke to that. They go through all this mess, and you'll see.
Look, you got this far. Just take a deep breath and try it again.
Of course. Hopefully I muted it in time. Let me reiterate here that back then there was no qualms about using this music online. If this gets flagged, I'll probably have to redo the video again, but I don't care. This is a good exercise to try it out. But yeah, Fall Out Boy was really popular back then, and I was a huge fan. And yeah, they're just out here. This is how you train to be in the Honor Guard. You run around shooting barrels and listening to Fall Out Boy, apparently. Oh, boy. There is actually a reason why they have two people in every team. I made what's called like a Zir rookie relationship, where it's kind of like it's supposed to be a little nod towards the Padawan and Master Jedi deals. And the idea was that these things that they're hunting, that they brought the Honor Guard specifically to fight for, were never completely harmless. You always had to have teams of two to make sure that you were okay. So Brandon, in this case, would be acting as the Zir on the mongoose, and Pat is a rookie on the back. In retrospect, I probably shouldn't have made it that long, but again, I was just trying to establish that there are these cool guys in awesome armor, you know what I mean?
Finally. I can't believe that took so long.
Oh, thank God.
Did I get all of them?
Let me check. Yep, looks like you got him.
Well, hey, who's that?
Not sure exactly. Looks like a warthog from base, though.
And so now we enter with a new character. He's based off another one of my friends. His name is Tip. You guys might have heard him. He goes by the moniker Bam. And we called him Tip. And he's like your best friend the second you meet him. I mean, there's no way to not be friends with this guy. He's such a kind heart. He's got a good spirit. He's always ready to help a friend. But you know, we being friends, especially when you're a group of guys, you like to pick on each other to be mean, but really it's our way of saying, you know, hey buddy, what's going on, all that.
Oh. I think that
So I
might
did
be
my
Tip.
best to
Oh, fuck Barry.
emulate him. Stupid Brandon, I forgot
Yep,
about that.
we're in trouble.
Tip seems very upset. Not sure why.
He looks pretty pissed. Hey Tip, how's it going, man?
Brandon, I said I would call you at 3 o'clock. Why haven't you been answering your calls?
Oh, hey, Tip. Shit, sorry about that.
You know, another reason why I really loved using Halo 3 for this stuff is because their helmets, when faced head on, like when you're looking at them from, you know, right in front of them, they have this almost very clueless looking expression. I love that. I love that. So, yeah, Tip's out here telling Brandon, I've been calling you, trying to get a hold of you. Where are you? And Brandon's like, I don't know. I guess I missed it.
Helping Pat with some training. What's up?
Look, we had a breach at HQ. A DTM
And the
broke
colors
into
and
base and
armor
attacked the captain.
perms are
We need to
so
head back
wrong.
right away.
Damn it! Another one? They're coming after him more than I want to harpoon a fat chick.
Well, yeah, of course, but you know him. He has to blow up everything in the...
So, again, Brandon did his own voice for this. He did an amazing job, but he also ad-libbed a couple of jokes that I absolutely probably would not fly today. But it was just funny and proof that we're capable of growth, right? Okay. Okay.
You know him. He has to blow up everything in the process.
Oh, well, it can't be that bad.
Get them up. Look, the point is, I need you
Again,
and Brooke to come back to the base.
Emphasizing the point that when John does anything, he essentially makes a mess. So he does a great job. He can defend everybody. He can do a good job, but he's the type that's like, okay, I'm going to get this bull out of the china shop, and then the whole thing is broken, defeating the whole purpose. You know what I mean? But that's who he is, and that's why he's good at what he does. So here's Tip saying, okay, now we got to get back.
We have to have an update on the DTM situation.
All right, Pat. Get your shit. Let's get out of here.
But I thought I couldn't work with the honor guard until I passed this test.
What are you talking about? Captain approved your membership yesterday. Didn't Brandon tell you?
I guess I didn't get that phone call either. Congratulations, buddy.
Now, I can say that when you did old school like machinima like this, it took forever because you had to record it and then not really see what you had recorded while it was being monitored. And it was like on Pinnacle Studios or something like that, you could plug the Xbox directly into the capture card and the capture card into the computer, and then from the computer there's a small little window where you could see all the stuff that you wanted to get done. So you'd press record and then just record a whole bunch of stuff and then piecemeal it all together later. A lot of the stuff that I would get wrong, like their colors and all that, it just took so long. Like for here, their arm color, those armbands, they should all be this gold color or that amber color, whatever. But because it took so long, there was a shot, so I was like, you know what? I'm just starting out like this. I'm just going to give it a try and see how it goes. And not many people noticed or cared, you know? So I was okay with it. But then eventually I fixed it because my own paranoia is like, it doesn't look right. I have to fix it. Anyway, Brandon here is told by Tip, hey, what are you doing out here? He was already approved for membership yesterday. He should have been back at the base with me. And, well, this is kind of a nod towards Brandon because in high school, he would help me out a lot in terms of what I like to call an ego check. He wouldn't let your head get too big. He'd be like, hey, you know what? yeah, you're Mr. Hotshot, you got a good rank, and everybody's all happy with you, but don't get full of yourself. And he'd always have a way of doing it very gently, like, oh, you did a good job, that's awesome, but, I could have done it better. Or he would be very generous with information and very kind, but he was a leader through and through. He still is. And so this is his way of being like, okay, I know Pat got in, but I'm still going to take him out here and train him because I don't want him to get full of himself.
Look, we have to go. This is going to be a very important mission, and we have to handle it very seriously.
I'm driving, bitches.
Shotgun.
They say it's bad when you laugh at your own jokes. It's like I said, they're supposed to be idiots in a world with a serious situation. I don't know if I captured that yet. And there's Mr. Julian and Mr. Chase.
Well, I don't know how it got in here, Chase.
What do you mean you don't know how I got in here? The damn thing's only bright
We
red.
didn't use an active camera.
My friend Jonathan Chase.
Oh yeah, active camera.
Damn it, Lieutenant Chase. Are you implying that I don't know how to do my...
It's always the first episodes that everybody has to say their names like a million times just to make sure you're like, okay, his name is this, his name is Julian, his name is Chase, whatever. And so when you have those 10 minutes, it's like, okay, I got to really drive this home. That's who he is. He's Julian. He's Chase. These are different people. They look the same except for the colors, and that's all we were given. Narratively, they have different colored armor because they're the honor guard. They're the ones that are specifically meant to kill the DTMs. So they have to stand out from everybody else so that people know that if these guys show up, basically get out of there, they're going to take care of business.
No, Jules. All I'm
I sounded like I knew what I was talking about, didn't I?
Lieutenant Chase, where is the rest of the team?
Oh, hey, sir. Well, Sid had to go pick them up in his warhog.
Here comes the dramatic entrance of Captain John Sky.
You sure they're gonna be okay on their
Yeah,
own?
he should be fine. Just as long as no bright red invisible monsters don't
Yes,
attack
I said
them.
I didn't see him.
Oh boy. Now, earlier I'd mentioned that I was using an Xbox 360, one Xbox 360, and as you can see, I've already established that there's going to be 5 characters in one shot, soon to be 6, and you couldn't. There was nothing I could do about that. There had to be the 6 characters inside of this room that they're about to be in this rat's nest stage. But the way to make the illusion of that was I had to have the camera on certain characters at certain times and then flip it to see the other characters at certain times. So it was like start a session, record one angle, stop it, go out, come back, record the other angle, and it's supposed to give the illusion that they're all standing there at the same time, right? It was a pain, but it was worth it.
Lieutenant, is that everyone?
Yes, sir. All present and accounted for.
As you may know, I was attacked on base by a DTM. The colonel's aware of it, and we had to keep it a secret from the brigade, as you know.
Why can't the rest of the brigade know? Because it would start a panic, rookie.
Sadly, the colonel doesn't want the rest to know that the DTMs actually found our base.
What are DTMs?
Brandon should have explained to you about the drill team
No,
members.
here's the big
The drill
exposition.
team members, or the DTMs, are the monsters we found when trying to inhabit this terrain station. They're usually no more of a threat than a wild animal, but lately they've become intelligent and violent, and have been invading this base and killing our soldiers.
How did they get intelligent?
We don't know, Lieutenant, but they're some vicious monsters, and they have to be taken care of. That's why the Honor Guard exists in the first place. It is our job specifically to handle the DTM situation.
Oh, crap.
See how it's like I have to throw all that information right away because it's like, well, what are they doing? Why are they here? Why do they have different colored armor? What's the point of all this? Are they just showing up to be cool? No, there's a reason for it, basically. And like they said, these red monsters, the drill team members, which they call DTMs, because you're in high school, you love your acronyms, especially when you're in JROTC. Everything has to be an acronym. And they basically are meant to be in there to wear armor that can actually stand up to the DTM's natural armor. Because the other ones couldn't. The regular military guys, the other UMTS people, the United Military Terrain Station, I know, very fanciful name, right? they couldn't do it. And the only resources they had was based off of the shells of dead DTM. So they would take their shells, dye them, and make them these colors. So Pat's the rookie, so his armor is still red like the DTMs, but everybody else had their own colors. And the shoulders on their sides, the different perm shoulders, they're supposed to be an example of their rank. So like John is a captain, so he doesn't have the gold shoulders, so it's green, but he has the shoulders. And then with Chase and with Julian and Brandon, they all have the gold things, which show that they're like, Zier material. They're in the process of finding their own rookies. And then Tip and Pat are the rookies, and they still have the normal things. Yes, I had a lot of time on my hands.
But this area is mostly desert, and the DTMs usually nest in the northern region by the Arctic area.
Have we learned anything from the bodies? Or what's left of them?
Well, all we found on him was that saliva they all have, some insect bites.
There are a lot of poisonous bugs and creepy crawly shit down there in the tropics south of here, but the DTMs could probably drown themselves in a plate of soup, so I don't imagine they're capable of hosing themselves down with off.
Someone's been training them to use weaponry and vehicles.
It does appear that way.
This
They
is them
also
trying to
seem
say that
faster
they have no idea
more
what's
adaptive
happening.
than before.
They have
This
no
one
idea
was
why the wolves are randomly able to sit in cars and shoot bullets at them now after years and years just attacking like monsters. Now they're actually intelligent doing stuff. So did someone train them to do that? What's going on? And they also mentioned that they're seeing these, puncture marks in them, implying that somebody's doing something they're not supposed to, which is kind of odd because you'd think if these things are killing machines, how's anybody able to experiment on them?
Migrate?
It's possible, but we have to gather more information before we can assume anything. Brandon, take Chase and go check out the ruins in the south.
Raj,
Don't get too close. I just want to find out if there's any more. Julian, take Patrick and go to the Arctic zone in the north and see if there's any reason
Okay,
they would have
so
migrated
this
there.
is a real
Right?
problem for me and really kind of embarrassing because I meant to send Pat and Julian to the south in the ruins, and I meant to send Chase and Brandon to the north in the Arctic region, as I called it. I didn't have a name for the area, so I just called it Arctic region, right? And you clearly hear John say for those two groups to go to the opposite places, and the next one they're in the right places, but here he says it backwards, and that's my fault. I believe it or not, I had this particular episode up for a while, and then I was watching it, and I was like, wait a minute, that's not right. They don't go there. And then oh, forget it. It's over 15 years old. I'm not going to change it now. But I will make fun of myself for it.
Regard, move out.
Here they go in teams of two. In this case, Julian's appointed the Zier over Pat. And off they go. But Julian can't drive.
And what about me, sir?
You're gonna stay here with me, and we're gonna do some research on everything we know about the DTMs, and run an autopsy on the dead one.
Oh, well, all right, sir. I'll go get the lab prepped right away.
I feel so bad. Tip's voice has changed over the years. You heard him earlier. Brandon, why haven't you been answering your calls? And then here, okay, sir. Well, it's because Chase and Tip's voice were so close to each other's, and I had to use Gold Wave to change the audio just a little bit higher pitch, lower pitch. And remember, this was all meant to be like placeholders until I could get the actual voice actors to do it, or my friends to do the voices. And it just never came to that because I got lazy and I just didn't want to bother them, and they're off being successful. So I was like, oh man, I don't want them to do voice essentially a little weirdo cartoon. But I've settled for Tip's voice to be about here now. This is how he should sound always. But and then Chase is a little bit higher. He goes a little bit more shrill. All right, here we go.
so, you think it's him, John?
Ooh, ominous.
We can't know for sure. But I know that symbol when I see it.
Well, I got his armband color wrong. They're all wrong. Oh well. And go ahead and pause there because, again, the audio that I used is not YouTube friendly. But that was episode 1 of Honor Guard versus the Drill Team. It was just my first little venture into the world of machinima making. I, after all these years, I watch it and I go, oh no. Oh no, but you know what? I'm a firm believer that everybody has to start somewhere, and I think it's cool to show growth. You know, it's highly suspicious if you go to a channel, especially one as old as mine, and then you're like, oh, he's decent all the time. No, even the best of people, you know, they should leave up their old crap content because it shows that where they came from, their growth, and it gives people this idea that hey, I can do it too if I just don't care about being crappy at the beginning. I mean, this whole venture into streaming here, ugh, I am taking my own advice, and we'll see how that goes. But you know, I've been having a good time with it. I've been having fun. I can't really complain about it too much. Okay, I've been running about 32 minutes. I think I'll go into the next episode and then I'll call it a day. So with that in mind, I will be right back. Okay, I am back. This is episode 2 of Honor Guard versus the Drill Team, called Teamwork. I should mention that, again, this particular opening sequence was made in Windows Movie Maker, and it also has music on it that would get me in trouble, so I'm muting it for now. Do we have to watch the opening every single time? No? Okay. There we go. So as you can see, unlike they didn't follow orders. No, but it was a mistake on my part. Julian and Pat wound up in the south in the ruins. This is supposed to be the ruins of the first terrain station. Now, what does that mean? When they discovered that they needed to find a new planet, the United Military Terrain Station, or the UMTS, sent out a colony into space, you know, to look for a habitat, a world that you could live on. And they found this one, and they settled, and everything was good, and they made a little town, and they were getting ready to get the next group over, but then they got attacked and destroyed. And this ruins here is supposed to represent the first terrain station's settlement that was now devastated by, you know, the wild DTMs that they did not see coming. So what we're doing now is trying to establish why the DTMs are now smart. Why are these pack animals suddenly smart? Why are they able to drive cars? Why are they able to do all this sorts of stuff? So they're down here to investigate to see if there's any here. And Brandon and Chase went to the Arctic region to go and see if they can find anything there. So here we go.
Oh my god, Julian, you don't know how to drive, do you?
Well, don't blame me. It makes me very nervous when people are back there.
Well, there's nothing out here. What are we supposed to do exactly?
I don't know, rookie. Let's take a look around. This place looks like it's been deserted for some time now.
Really? Okay, where do you think we should start?
Why are you asking me?
So before we get more into this, I should mention Julian is one of my best friends in real life. I love the guy like a brother. This isn't a reflection on him. It's my exaggerated version of him, but also peppering in some of my frustration with people who are leadership people, and they get a little bit too into, like, being in charge. Hey guys, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. I'm the one in charge. Don't forget that. I'm in charge. Everything I say is good. You're wrong. And they take it so seriously. that you're like, okay, I get it, whatever, just what are we supposed to do here so I can go do the next thing or whatever. And even though real life Julian's not like that, this particular version of him embodies that, where he's going to ask, Pat for advice, but then be like, oh, no, I'm just going to do what I want. It's like, why are you involving me?
Where do you want to start?
How about we start with this empty building to the left? Yeah, this is gonna go well. Sir, why did you ask me if we're gonna go this way anyway?
Quiet, rookie. This is too important a mission for you to screw up. So now I'm taking command.
He was in command to begin with, but he just loved to say stuff that makes him sound like this awesome, cool
Oh
dude.
my god, rookie, get over here, quick!
Brandon's the assistant
What is
honor
it,
guard
sir?
commander,
Is
and
it a
Julian
DTM?
can't stand it. He wants that job
thought
so
I
bad.
had heard something.
Oh, and there's a run-of-the-mill, old-fashioned DTM.
Oh my god, okay. Out of my way, rookie.
Sir, what happened? What did you see? Julian!
Captain, come in. This is Julian. Captain,
Julian,
come
could
in.
you
This
just
is
tell
Julian.
me?
So Julian is a type that he knows he could take out that DTM on his own. He probably could, but he is also the type that's a very stickler for the rules because he's trying to get recognized as this really super awesome soldier. So instead of just going and dealing with it or finding out more stuff about it, he's like, no, I gotta call John. I gotta report this back immediately. It's kind of like Dwight Schrute before Dwight Schrute was Dwight Schrute.
Why isn't he answering?
This is Captain John. Go for Julian.
Captain, we need assistance. I found one DTM.
Are you serious?
Of course I'm serious, sir.
We can't send backup. You need to leave the area immediately.
And make sure the rookie gets back safe and sound.
Forgot about this.
Sir, that doesn't sound like something
Good job,
you'd say.
Agent Decide.
Okay, so I'm only 2 episodes in making this, right? And my mind is, okay, now I need to do a meta joke. The minds of kids. I was like, okay, now I can make one. Because the joke on here is that since I'm essentially voicing all of them, of course, one of my characters could sound like another one of my characters. So that comes from a joke thing that I used to do when I was a kid, because my grandfather was awesome. He was one of the coolest people you ever met. But he would talk for a long time. And sometimes I felt bad for my brother John, ironically, who would be in the middle of the game or something, whatever. And he's like, hey, could you just talk to him and, pretend you're me and then just, whatever. And then I'll give him the information later so that he knew that it was him that was talking to him. Probably wasn't the best idea in the world. But I would always talk like this, and he'd always talk like this. A little bit deeper, a little bit more authoritative, a little bit more exaggerated. So, yeah, I mean, how are you doing today? So that's the joke that I kind of went with this, to have Pat pretend to be John so he could figure out what's going on. Because Julian recognizes that there's a DTM there. He recognizes this is a problem. But he's so busy, like, trying to do things a certain way to look good that Pat's able to trick him into thinking that he's actually John. And then he finds out and gets in trouble.
What it is I'm supposed to say?
And another thing, be nice to the rookie. He's a good kid. I'm even thinking about giving him a promotion. So, be nice to him.
Rookie, was that you?
Oh, no, sir. Yes.
Rookie, do you understand how serious an offense it is impersonating a UMTS officer? I should have you
Will you
court-martialed.
tell me what was
In
going
fact,
on?
Hey,
why
yes,
did I
see,
bring you
humanity's
here?
last
Have
hope
you
is
ever
bickering.
been
Watched or what's going
You
on?
don't need to
Not
know
great.
what's going on. Only I need to know what's going on. In order for me to know...
Julian, be quiet for a second. Did you hear that?
You're gonna be quiet. I need to tell
Julian,
you...
be quiet for a second. Did you hear that?
Interfering in our mission and... Shh. Hey, I just heard something.
So basically, Julian's so uptight about everything, and he got so offended by the thing that he's like, oh, he was making all this racket, and then sure enough, one of the DTMs found him, so the thing they were trying to avoid just shows up on him. So now we cut to the rest of the clowns. Brandon and Chase in the Arctic region. They have to drive everywhere very dramatically. I was really proud of that little that little direction, that little scene change there, where you see him zooming at full pace, and then it just cuts to the other side of him. Like I said, there's a lot that went into the using Pinnacle back then, So you almost had to have your shots thought out completely before you went in there. I just don't want to show them driving up. I wanted to establish, okay, where are they? They're in an ice bank. Why are they in an ice bank? What is this facilities around them? What's happening? And then they show up, and then they start explaining stuff.
Yeah, it's cold out here.
Yeah, it's terrible out here. I don't know how the DTMs can take that.
They're probably too stupid to realize that the cold can kill them.
As you can see, I was doing both their voices because Brandon and Chase, I didn't want to bug them for it. That's what.
If it weren't for this armor, we'd be frozen.
And then Chase makes a joke that I talked over where he says, it's like the DTMs are too cold they're too stupid to know how cold they are. And again, that's like another little jab at the armed drill team from when I was in high school. But again, now they're treating them, in this one, they're animals. They don't know any better, right? But in the context of real life, it was picking on them like they didn't know anything.
Well, I haven't seen any DTM nest yet. We're good for now, I guess. I'm gonna start heading it this way. I want you to cover me, okay?
Alright, I'll follow you in soon after.
You can come in, Chase. I don't think there's any nests in here.
There wasn't that long of a wait there, but again, 10-minute episodes. Could only go up to 10 minutes.
Alright, I'm right behind you. Do you think all the nests are gone?
No, they're definitely still nesting here. What reason would they have to come to the tropic area? It doesn't make any sense.
Maybe Abominable Snowman had run them out of their homes.
Now, again, it's established that they have a nest in the Arctic zone, and they don't usually travel out there unless it's a big deal. The reason they wound up in the southern region, the southern area with all the the tropical stuff and all that, it was because they found out that there were humans on their planet, and they're like, hey, get off our planet. And when they were like, no, this is our planet now, then of course the DTMs basically just decimated them all. So after the honor guard showed up, they were able to clear them out of there. The DTMs stayed out of that area, even though it's unusual that Pat and Julian ran into one. There is one there, so now they're trying to figure out why, And that was a comment that Chase was making earlier about how they had a bunch of insect bites on them. Like, why would they have that? That makes no sense. Oh, the one that they checked was the one that John killed at the very beginning. I know you were dying for me to clarify that. I'm so sorry.
Or maybe Martians have decided to experiment on them. Or maybe it's Abominable Martians.
What in the world are you talking about?
Hey, man. You never know. Hey, Brandon, come over here. Check this out.
And that's my idea of a nest.
Yeah, that's definitely a nest.
Three
Like three of them.
Three elites staring at each other. See how their helmets are the base model? That's because they're the regular ones.
I guess they are migrating. That doesn't make any sense.
Oh!
Abominable
Just cut to a very big explosion, and then it just gets quiet again immediately. Oh my gosh, I was so bad with sound. I'm still bad with sound, but that was a whole other different level. It was like, boom, okay, now it's gone. And then this guy just shows up. The idea is he was landing and shot at them. That's what that was supposed to establish. And I'm like, wait, what the heck is that?
Who in the world is that?
I should have also pointed out that in the first episode at the end, when John and Brandon are leaving, they go, hey, I recognize that symbol anywhere, whatever. It's because that symbol is actually the symbol used by this guy, who they're going to now identify.
Son of a... That's Sergeant Major.
Who's Sergeant Major?
That's right. He worked in the honor guard back then. There was his installation base, where we found people from the first terrain station were trying to genetically...
Okay, those filters were cool. I mean, you can't use them for everything, but they had this one black and white filter, or kind of like a desaturated filter, and man, it made the stages look so cool, especially when you had the black armor. But I wanted to do like a reference. So, Brandon's like, okay, it's story time here in the middle of this to tell you who it is.
Soldiers. Our colonel never approved of this installation, and diplomatic attempts to shut them down failed. So the colonel sent in Sergeant Major, as he was the top soldier in the UMTS, and the best and last honor guard member, the captain. I'm just about done here. How is that door coming, John?
I don't know, Sergeant Major. The exit door seems to have some combination lock on it.
Combination
lock. To get out that way.
My peak writing.
Get out of the way, I'll take care of this.
This was done in forge mode, where I just threw the little fire grenades and then lowered the door slightly to make it look like they busted out. And the idea was that they were sent to this installation base to check on something because there was something they weren't supposed to be doing here, right? But when they got there, they found a whole bunch of like resources and stuff that they weren't supposed to have, and Sergeant Major doesn't quite clarify why they're there. And so they're, trying to figure out what's going on here. And suddenly they get chased by an
Sergeant Major, the
EDTM,
dropship's here. What are
or
you
an
doing?
enhanced DTM.
I said go.
This particular one becomes important later on.
Sadly, they didn't count on a genetically enhanced DTM to be guarding the base. John was able to get away, but Sergeant Major wasn't.
You mean the DTM killed Sergeant Major?
I guess not. We all thought he was dead.
So it's kind of an absurdity because John and Sergeant Major are like polar opposites. They can't stand each other, but Sergeant Major is the only one who can hold a candle to John's ability to fight and kill DTMs. But this EDTM came out of nowhere, and instead of fighting him, they decided to run, and that's where it was like, why? Why did you run? You could have taken him out, but that's where they understand that, hey, wait a minute, something's not adding up here. Why did you run exactly? And that's explained later. But in this case, the EDTM took out Sergeant Major, and he pushed John off of the place so he could get away. And when he came back, John came back, but Sergeant Major didn't, and that was an issue in itself.
But now it looks like he is friends with the DTMs and using them to kidnap even more of them.
And now he has his own personal EDTMs going,
We need to get out of here.
and he's using them to capture more of the normal DTMs.
Wait,
Roger that.
I know it's not complicated at all.
Dear God.
Sorry.
it's not polite to spy on people, you know. Still, long time no see, rookie.
Okay, so a couple of things there. Honestly, that decision of Sergeant Major to be up there that quickly and that fast was a last minute kind of thing because, they just saw him across the bloody way over there, right? And they turn around and he's right there. Well, the narrative reason is, he's able to move very quickly, more quickly than he should be able to. And that's that becomes a little bit of an issue. But the real reason was because I was filming. I had two CQB armor people, two Sergeant Majors there, and they were filming John and Brandon. And I remember that when I was done with that, one shot of them saying, "We got to get out of here and report this." I was like, wouldn't it be so cool? They just turned around and there he was. And he already was there. So yeah. Then I got the other Sergeant Major one and ran it up and recorded him being there. And I was like, why'd he get here? And I loved that they went through with that because later I do show that, wait a minute, not only is he alive, but he's this monster in terms of speed and power. And I really wanted to capture that. So I think that's where I'm going to end it for today. I mean, I think I did pretty good for my first stream. I think that will do. But I hopefully will be able to do another one of these next week around the same time. It's, I like doing this stuff. I like explaining this stuff. I wanted to go back and rewatch this stuff and just kind of like everybody likes to see where they came from, right? I want to go back and see what I was thinking back then. And some parts I don't know. Other parts I just remember the story so fondly. I wrote that story for over 10 years. I never finished it. And that's one of my greatest sadnesses. Like, the story is complete. I know how it ends. But I never finished it because I was going through it, and then like most paranoid and kind of deprecating people, I got a little bit embarrassed. I was like, oh man, I'm making this stupid stuff and people are gonna make fun of me for it and it's gonna be so dumb. And then so I tried doing something else because remember I was also still trying to get Recon Armor at the time. And so I made Halo Olympics, and that one did a lot better. So I started focusing on that one, and I'll go through some of the Halo Olympics episodes from forever ago, but I'll do that some other time. But I may do another one of these soon, if not at the very latest next week. But once again, thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate your time. You could have spent it anywhere else. And the fact that you hung out with me, even if you're watching this on the replay, means a great, great deal. I am trying to keep my YouTube channel alive. So if you could subscribe or give me a little thumbs up, or in the comments say, you know what, Patrick, you suck at streaming. I'll be okay with that too. It's 100%. totally fine. But thank you for watching, and hopefully we will see you next time. Farewell.